Well, with that, it is a new era for the Boston Bruins, and it officially starts tonight. Game 1 versus the Washington Capitals, the first of a back-to-back set. We have pregame for you and postgame, so make sure you tune it back to NESN. As mentioned, the Bruins playing at Capital One Arena on the road and then hosting the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow. And with that, we welcome you to Bruins Face Off Live. For the first time officially, we've done some preseason games, but for the first time officially, presented by Plymouth Rock Auto and Home Insurance for Boston sports fans with Billy and Razor. And guys, we are here to set up a brand new season for the Boston Bruins. All the changes dating back to the firing of Coach Jim Montgomery, of course, a very wild trade deadline, and then the offseason, guys. Safe to say this is a new era for the Boston Bruins, and we're looking forward to what they're going to bring.
Well, we hope that they bring, I think, a lot of what they showed at times during preseason, right?
Yes.
A lot of energy, a lot of passion. We're going to get into Marco Sturm and all the new players. It's going to be a fun year, but it's going to be a real workman type year. It's just going to be. We've talked about it here on the pod, et cetera. That's what it is. It's a grind season. And it's okay. It's that rebuild, retool year more than not rebuild. It's a retool type year. And that's what they have to do. The Razor, it's a different mindset, and it had to be, given everything they went through last year that we all know did not end very positively.
Well, no, and history tells us what this team and what this organization is good at. And that's what the last 15, 20 years has looked like. And they have to get back to that a little bit. And finally, for us, we're out of the ifs. We're out of waiver wire talk. We're out of prospect talk. We're out of what could happen. We're into let's analyze and talk about the real regular season, which is the most exciting part.
Yeah, so game 1, I said tonight. If you're just joining us, we are going to go through for the entire hour. We're going to go through the big changes, kind of get the guys' insight on that, some of the new players. But of course, we have to start at the top because especially without a captain, one of the biggest changes is having a brand new head coach and Marco Sturm at the helm. As we take a look at his resume, some of the things you may know already. He's never coached as a head coach an NHL team, has assistant coach experience with an NHL team, but has coached Team Germany. And of course, very important, has experience with the Boston Bruins, what the fans expect, the culture, the fan base, the system, not the systems, this is a new system, but the way things are done here in Boston. And so we're definitely going to be talking about him, guys. So why don't we dive into this? He wanted a good training camp, and I think we got that. Nikita Zadorov said one of the best ones he's ever been a part of.
Yeah, it was incredibly positive, great energy, very well structured, purpose. It was purposeful.
Nice
I think
word,
that's the word that jumped out to me. So now, does that translate to an incredibly successful season? We're going to find out.
Right.
But I think it gives you a hell of a lot better chance than the opposite, which is what they went through last year. Small sample size. I've known Marco for years and years. Razor, you'd be good friends with him. Haven't played with him a bit, but I've known him for years as a broadcaster player, and he was always incredibly agreeable, amenable to work with, just a wonderful guy, great reputation. Now to get to talk to him and to really get to, quote unquote, know him more, know him better and all that, you become very impressed. This is going to be now the challenge of how does he handle bumps and bruises, so to speak, and the good and the not so good when it happens, because it's going to happen. That we got to wait and see. But early results, Razor, incredibly positive with that guy.
No question. It was a perfectly well-run training camp. Mm-hmm. It was very organized. Everything was done with a purpose. There was not a wasted minute from all accounts from anybody that saw. And that sets up a great October. That sets up a great first couple of weeks. It's to use a football analogy, you run the first 10 plays of the first series, but it's the adjustments that change the game. Right. It's the adjustments and what he does after the first couple of weeks. Okay, we're good at this. We're not good at this. We have to change. I want to do it this way, but we don't have the horses to do it this way. So now I have to do it a different way. I have to find a different way, whether that's power play, special teams, neutral zone, defensive zone. So no question, they are absolutely fully prepared for this first game, and Marco Sturm is a big reason for that. And his job and the details of his job and the requirements of his job is what happens after the first couple of weeks to figure out what he is and where they are against the rest of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the word purpose. I love that word. And there was a lot of pride as well that the players took in just showing up every day, learning the new systems, and Marco Sturm had that pride as well. Adam Pellerin, guys, he is rink-side with us at Capital One Arena. So, Adam, you hear us talking about the coach and what kind of leader he's going to be, but obviously there is no captain as of now with the Boston Bruins. So we're making a big deal of who's going to wear the A, as we should, and the alternates, and you have more on that.
Yeah, there are now 3 guys who are going to wear the A on their jerseys. David Pastrnak, of course, Charlie McAvoy, and now Hampus Lindholm. And you guys were talking about Marco Sturm. When he first got the head coaching job, he reached out to players. He talked to most of them by phone, including Hampus Lindholm. And he said this morning that Lindholm stood out. He said that he could tell in his voice that he cared. And he told Marco Sturm that he wanted to be a difference maker, that he wanted to help this team win. And those are ingredients for leadership. And now Lindholm has the title of alternate captain. And he said this morning that he's honored to wear the A on his jersey.
I think I lead by example a lot, especially how I carry myself off and on the ice. And that's at least how I want to be remembered as a leader. And I think me and Chucky in the past, we're 3 different personalities that can help each other in so many different ways. So I think we got a good mixture there. But I'm just going to be myself and lead the way I've been doing in the past, and it's really exciting. We had a little meeting yesterday, and they announced it. So it's you have your feelings that it might come, but obviously when they announce like that, it's special. So I'm honored to wear it and excited about the season to start here.
Yeah, so you heard Hampus Lindholm. We found out yesterday when the team got to Washington when they had a meeting. He also talked about a few of the guys that he learned from over the years in Anaheim. First off, during his rookie season, played with Saku Koivu and Teemu Selanne. And then, of course, Ryan Getzlaf, the captain in Anaheim for a number of years. And then when he gets to Boston, it's Patrice Bergeron. So he's had a lot of players that he can learn leadership qualities from. But outside of that, guys, he's getting ready to play his first game that counts since November. Of course, missed all that time with the knee surgery and then the complications from that, but looked good in the preseason, skated well, and now he's ready to rock.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, you know, that adversity can also really help a leader and being able to relate in the room and going through tough things. Adam, thank you so much. We're going to hear from you a little later on, but let's continue that conversation. As Adam said, he didn't play much last year. Marco Sturm, though, he has said 1,000 times, I don't care what happened last year. I don't care how Jeremy Swayman was. I don't care who was out, who was injured. This is a new year for me. He felt what he felt about Hampus Lindholm. Any surprise this year? I don't really think so that he got the A.
No, I kind of thought they might add 2 more A's, Hampus and maybe an Elias, maybe the brothers Lindholm, right?
Right.
One at home, one on the road. Just thought they might go down that road. Just leadership by committee. Doesn't mean if you don't have a letter on your jersey that you're not a leader.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly.
I based on his performance in preseason, I like it an awful lot. You know why? Because if you're not a confident guy after missing that much hockey, to come back and just play, even in preseason, is tough. And he came back and he did beautifully. He did very well. So the good news is he's healthy, and it looks like not just physically but mentally as well. He looks very confident. So good for him. And, there's also something to be said about, when you hear Adam talk about Marco and Hampus having a conversation, you connect with certain guys more than another. It's just the way it works. It's the human nature, right? And so if that was a great connection, which it sounds like it was, then that's a right choice for a coach to suggest as one of your leaders.
That's right. Then that's why that decision gets made after a few weeks, so Marco can form that opinion and form those relationships with everybody in the room. Hampus, 31. He's been in the NHL since 2013-14. He's capable of this. I think he's one of the more outgoing people in the dressing room, in the Bruins room. When one of us walks through, he's the first one to say hi.
Yes.
He says hello, how's things going? Always a chat. And I think that's important for some of these younger guys to recognize how important that is to be outgoing, to be confident, and be very prepared as a professional hockey player.
Yes, I was just about to say, like, a nice calming presence, but of course I don't really know when the locker room's closed and they're down 4-0 or something, but when you're seeing him in practice or even on the bench, the shots we get, a good grounded presence, and that's important because it might be an up and down season. All right, Bruins fans, we are going through over the next hour and a bit the newest faces to join the Boston Bruins. We're going to go through each one of these guys, but let's start with the one that says trade, Victor Arvidsson. And of course, we're going to see some changes to the lineup, but we expect that. But for now, he's slotted in that second line right side, guys. What does he bring to this Bruins team?
Well, he brings a scorer's mentality. Now, whether or not he can get back to that 20-goal level that he's done five times in his career, we'll have to wait to be seen. I mean, he's had 2 over 30. I mean, you go back to 18-19, he had 34 goals in his 58 games. He had 61 points each in his 16 season and 17 season. This is a guy that when he's on, he's doing this. I remember vividly standing behind the net watching that one go in. He hammered it. He's not big. He will absolutely try to play interior. And, he's got that kind of that Energizer Bunny way about him. Mm-hmm. Now, again, what can he bring here? If he can get to 20 goals, Razor, if he can get to that level again, that line again, I think it's a very successful season.
I agree. There's an opportunity with playing with a middle stat, playing with a Pavel Zacha, where he's the last guy to touch the puck before the puck goes towards the net. And if those two guys can create, there's no question he has a good enough shot, as we see there, to score goals. If he gets put in the right opportunity, he is going to hound pucks. He is going to throw a lot of pucks on net. If that line can combine, it makes sense where he is with those two guys right now, with the way the other two guys on his line play, that he drives with his energy and then finishes while they do all the work in between.
Right. Last year was not what you would call a scintillating year for him. He went to Edmonton. They were looking for him to add that secondary level of scoring, et cetera. You got McDavid and Draisaitl there. You don't see a lot of ice time, right?
They don't touch the puck.
Right. Yeah. And he played something. He did okay. The year before, he actually got injured, but he had played pretty well. And I'm trying to remember exactly how many. He had 15 points in 18 games. Not last year, the year before. Okay. And then he was injured with LA.
And he was in LA where Marco Sturm was. Right. And the connection there and how they want to play, that's all pretty familiar for Victor Arvidsson.
Exactly. And that's what. So Edmonton was hoping that they were getting the almost a point a game player that they had in LA, but because the injury was significant, he never really got going to the kind of level that he felt like he could last year.
He said this was his first offseason in years that he was able to train the way he wanted.
There you go. Yeah.
So, and he said that was weird, almost weird, but obviously very exciting. So we have a healthy Victor Arvidsson who had a healthy offseason.